Hello there, and welcome back to Corey Loses for the continuation of our Eriadu Authority playthrough in Thrawn's Revenge version 3.2. In the first episode, we struggled a bit with the assault on Sullust, but it's in our hands now, and we also took Bespin. So we are going to be setting our sights on Hoth, Saijo, Endor, and Bakura as our next targets. I think we've done a good bit to reduce their forces in New Republic territory down here. We will hopefully not get attacked by the Empire on Yagdol, but we have some artillery here, the Eriadu artillery with the light mobile artillery hover tank. So still going to be relying more on your actual heavy vehicles than sitting back with the artillery. And we also have the track mobile base finished on this side, so let's get our infantry in. And we're about to have some money so we can build the government building on Sullust. So let's pop that one on there. And we will see the food and parts are holding on. We're positive with those. We should be able to take all these planets without losing too much. There's still some extra parts cost on Mustafar, but guess what we're not taking for a while? Our first battle with the asserter, we're probably going to go to Mustafar. I think that's what we're gonna try to do. But let's go and build some of our patron units here as well. So we're gonna get Respondent Superior, and I don't think anyone actually requested an IPV for the entire playthrough. Between this episode and the recordings on Monday, I am going to put all the patron units on the lower bar, or at least behind the regular ones, just so it's a bit easier to see. But we'll have Sluis Fan here. There is this little guy here, the Asserter class Dreadnought. We need 300 crew. So one other thing that has come up in the other preview playthroughs recently, but you might not have seen, is that if you can't afford something with crew, it'll still show up on your build bar. You just won't be able to build it the same way that you wouldn't be able to with credits. Unfortunately, we can't add a message for it. The only ones that it'll say for that are insufficient funds. But if you have enough funds but not enough crew, then it doesn't show a message on Hoverover. But it's still a lot easier to know like what's available, what you're missing, as long as people are used to checking the ship crew account or ship crew amount under the name there. So working with a limited game. But I think we'll go for Hoth first as a hopefully easier Echo base assault for us. And see if we get a legitimacy group soon, because I want to get a legitimacy group soon. And I did save between the episodes there. I did. I remember typing into. So yeah, it'll be a lot more obvious what things you would be able to build any. Now, why would you use Veers for a Hoth assault? That's not... That just seems silly. Alright. Maybe we'll use Veers. We'll think about it. So the Raiders, although they are Raiders, they're Raider 2s, so they are not necessarily your primary anti-fighter ship. They have some decent anti-fighter capabilities, but they also have some other anti-ship weapons, so you don't want to just rely on them for anti-fighter, you do want to use your IPVs. Basically, the idea with Eriadu was to make sure that their fighters had to stay on defense more, rather than giving them the same tools that other factions might have to like protect their ships from fighters more with corvettes and like go out and be active on the map with their fighters. With Eriadu, you have some pretty decent options for anti-fighter from your ships, but primarily you're going to want to keep your interceptors back and use them defensively while you're using your capital ships as the primary damage dealers. So that was our thinking with the setup for that. But let's go. We have Veers. Yeah, there have been a few issues in the stream with the bitrate. Luckily, it'll be in a recorded form for YouTube later for any parts that people may have missed if they want to scrub through with that. So, not ideal, but could be worse. Let's also get a tracked mobile base. Another Philoraptor asset. Okay, this time your legs will be fine, Veers, I swear. Alright. And free money. Hoth has the double free money. So for this, you've got the sensor ping, but you've also got the deploy, which puts out a build pad. We're still going to have to make a couple decisions with the build pad on it for pricing and utility and stuff, but it's definitely a unique unit. A lot more like a bit more of a self-sufficient MDU from the base game. Either Pando, curious what's to be done on 3.2 and 1.2 respectively. Reverse perspective, respectively, 1.2 of Fall of the Republic is in beta already, so we are mostly just doing some final cleanup on that. The last asset for that was done recently, where Bob did the Ahsoka body model. So Ahsoka will be finished, and then it's just fixing whatever bugs are still coming up in testing. Most of the other stuff in that is done. There's less specific work to do there, just really just the bug fixing for Fall of the Republic. For Thrawn's Revenge, we still have a good amount of work to do with the Hapens. We have a decent amount to do with some setup for some other mechanics, and a few things left to do with the Warlord rosters. But we are very close. It won't be too long before we're in beta for Thrawn's Revenge. Like, I was mentioning it at the start of the first episode, but we need to do the planning for compliments, fighter compliments in Thrawn's Revenge, so getting the actual fighter choices done, as well as doing the pricing changes for that. So both price and pop cap, because pop cap and pricing for fighter compliments is going to be different in 0.2 with the bomber reworks. These guys get up here. And Zell. Zell and the other guy. We'll also bring in Mr. Snopes. Wrath. But yeah, we're very close. The beta for Fall of the Republic so far has been pretty smooth as well. So, fingers crossed, it's largely going to be smaller bug fixes for it, and not a bunch of really labor-intensive stuff to do. Alright, we're going to get the track mobile base out of this. We haven't been using most of its strengths here so far, but it is a smaller map with less stuff on it, so the utility it's bringing to the table is less necessary for this battle. But we've done... There will probably end up being 6 Hapen ground units in... or ground vehicles in the first release with the Hapens. 4 of the models for them are either done or in-game, and then 1 of them is textured, so that's kind of the biggest area we still need to do. Either after Maldrude or after this playthrough, we're going to be doing our Hapen playthrough. So, our first Hapen playthrough. So you'll get to see some of that coming together there. When do you get the allegiance? We have the allegiance from the start here. So really, we get them when we can afford them. I think they probably have a field base over there. And we should have an... we should have an orbital bombardment by the time they get it too. Nope, they're not gonna. That's sad. Okay, let's stop them from getting out. And the flash blinds. Don't go too far. You two can go in. You're just spawns. Once we've taken the New Republic territory up through Bakura, we're gonna probably try to slow down a little bit, build up our economy a bit more. Because that'll be the local threats taken care of. Alright, we have all those three building. And... I don't think we need the vision on Saijo. I think we can take whatever they end up having there. We don't have... It's not like we're going to be going for something else instead. So we may as well. We'll start building up some of the other fleets with some of these other units. Here, you can go on that side. Okay, we really don't have to worry about that. Nance, I think, is at Bakura. Like, I think when they took Bakura, they sent Nance and the other units down here over there. Like, well, I can say that now because we have confirmation, but I think I already said it before. I was already thinking it. I take credit for all of it. Yeah, so like we'll probably hold off a little bit on Endor and Bakura and just take these. Give at least some vision on Endor. Considering units like Allegiance dominate in ship-to-ship combat, what's the benefit of more carrier-oriented units? Fighters seem insignificant compared to big capital ships. I mean, that's what the bomber reworks this release were for. Bombers have always been really good in numbers, just getting to those numbers has been difficult for people to appreciate. It's a bit more difficult, more of an investment. You need to have more of them visually, essentially, so people often don't quite get to the point where they dominate in their normal capacities. But we do have some cloud cars here. So a new influence unit there. But with the bomber reworks, there's more power put up front in smaller numbers of bombers, so it's a bit easier to appreciate and easier to kind of get out there. A big part of that you could see in the Pentastar alignment playthrough already. But there was a whole video on it, and it's been shown off in a bunch of campaigns in the last, like, 6 months. So it's... You should be able to see some of that in action, both here and in the other playthroughs. Alright, we have limited funds, but I think those limited funds can have fun on Endor and Bakura. I think it's worth 1,000. So... Yatu, we will get... I think you have a decent base income. Yeah. Well, you don't have enough influence for me to do this yet. It's only extra 50 to do it that way. Let's get the trade port on you. We'll get a trade port on you. And Sluis Fan will get a trade port on. And Atreus will get a trade port on. Surprise Bestman doesn't give a bonus to resources. Well, Tabana isn't a resource. It's instead a place where you'll be able to get a mining facility. So, speaking of, mining facility. So that's where the Tabana comes in. Alright, do we want to pop this guy over into that ground force? I think we do. The other stuff on Bespin, this is a corporation and carbon. We're probably going to get it for some construction. Well, Drew just took Yavin. Let's see. Well, let's check the legitimacy first. 34 for Zinj. We're at 38. We get a bonus from the fact that we have Eriadu. Because I think it's Eriadu and Karita that are worth 3. No, Bash and Eriadu are 3. Karita and Kuat are 5. So... the Empire has 57. We are in second, though. So that's good for us. Out that one out. We'll head to Saijo. I think it's gonna be worth saving beforehand as well. 15 minutes in. Yeah, the New Republic's probably not going to be in a great position here. One of the things I've kind of been thinking of, since we can do different planet amounts or different planet selections per faction, per era, is potentially making it when you start as the Eriadu Authority in earlier GCs, putting a few more of the New Republic planets in the north in. But again, there's number of factions times number of eras they're available in Galactic Conquest to set up. So, well, we can get more granular with how we set them up. In practical terms, there's only so much that we can like reasonably change. Oh, hi, Mon Mothma. I hear you're going to win an election soon. Does this have pathing changes? It must, because otherwise that would be there. I think Fuel Hall made a couple changes to this a few days ago. But we don't have a particularly hovery faction outside of a couple of our units. Try to take advantage of it. So with heroes dying and then still being leader options, there's some major heroes who, for narrative purposes, are counted more as Fire Emblem deaths, where they're not actually dead. And Mon Mothma accounts for that. Like the same way that Han we've just killed, but for whenever Jaina's in, that wouldn't cut off the possibility of having Jaina or events that Han gives you the stuff, gives you the information for. It's like there's some characters in Fire Emblem, when they die, they're just gone. They're not part of the story anymore. But there's some where it's like, oh, you've nicked my elbow a little bit, and now I can't fight anymore. But I can still be part of these conversations. So that's a thing there. Like even for some of the story missions, like we might even make it so that some of the heroes come back to life in certain story missions when we get to them. Really, it'll just come down to whatever ends up feeling most sensical. sensible. Can you get out of there in time? I don't know that you can. Because, like, one of the missions that we've made some props for is a mission on the Invisible Hand, which obviously if you get Anakin and Obi-Wan killed and the mission for that fires, then that's less interesting. Or if Dooku's dead. If they end up like, oh, I've been in the hospital for 6 months, but look at me now, then there might be a few instances of that, just for narrative purposes. Which if they survive, maybe you get them back, and that could be part of the reward. Can we hit it? We need the artillery support back. So much for our amphibious assault. Shakti, ironically, not involved in enough major story missions that she would be likely to come back to life. Where's a repairable? Nope, not you. I want you. I'm probably gonna sell the X4. Please capture. Please clap. Okay, you don't want to go too far that way. Come on. Okay, we made it. Very scary stuff. And now we can get a repair platform, and everything will be fine. Yeah, I don't think we'd be likely to do a Mimi Shakti can die multiple times thing. There's already enough Jedi that, like, there's gonna be like a Jedi Order mechanic similar to the command staff mechanic. So there's gonna be so many options that we can possibly use for that we don't need 30 Shaktis for it, sadly. I think this one's safe. Look, the best thing Mon Mothma can do for her political career is die. It's a very popular move with the public these days. She started pulling through the roof. Oh, we were healing it. It was doing so well. What's Blizzard Force without a few casualties, though? But once we have Iatsu up and running as a just permanent AT-AT production zone, that's when things really come together. Are you going to release more canon submods like Starhawk and other ships? Because MC75 is currently incompatible with 3.1, assuming less so for input. Should be compatible with 3.1. There's some parts of it that weren't fully updated, but yeah, we are working on the Starhawk. I'm gonna probably put more work into that after point 2 is out. I was originally hoping to release it with point 2 with some updates for the MC75, but it just, at this point, doing it in the point 1 style and then doing it in the point 2 style is not worth it. We're this close to beta release. So it'll be the MC75 and the Starhawk in one submod, and there are also a few other units that are being worked on for other potential submods. There are also some canon units that we're making for Imperial Reign. So, like, we don't want to just put all the possible Imperial Reign units in the canon unit submod. We want to keep some stuff for the new mod. It's just more fun that way. Yeah, the map is definitely better this way, but I think there's still... I want to go over with Rogue some other possibilities. All right, we are in the base. What do they have left? They have the barracks there. Well, let's get those out. And we need to put something else in that's not any of the weak units right now. Put in our cloud cars. Why not? You are able to stack multiple submods as long as they don't modify the same files. So with like official submods, we basically try to make all of them compatible. But as far as like other people's submods that we don't make, that's kind of just out of our control. Alright, you can go hover over that, and the Lancet as well. Maybe a bit hard for you to shoot when they're partially in the ground. Let's go shoot the other one. We need a green version of that particle. I feel like the Lancer would look better with Lancet would look better with it. Eriadu doesn't innately have the Talon Cloud Cars. It has Bespin has them as influence units. So since we have Bespin and Bespin is currently somewhat fond of us, we have them. Hey, guess who we got first again? Did I like cheat that so I'd get Lumaya first in the other thing? Or am I just getting, is Lumaya just kind of showing up all the time. Well, hey, if she wants to join. All right, Lumaya, welcome to the faction. They got an Akbar over there. Full Akbar snack bar. All right, Sander, get on over there.
Beginning construction. Heading out.
Like, did I do something to test her and then just not revert it before starting the playthroughs? I'm gonna look at that right now. Let's see. This is gonna be very interesting for an episode. Legitimacy reward library, Lumaya Sith. I don't think it's in there, or it is in there, but I don't think it's anything said in there. No. No. Let's see. Okay. Random number based on the number of tables. Yeah, it's just she's
Construction complete.
it's not impossible. I think it's just standard random up. But I thought it was deterministic based on factors that would change enough through time and that kind of thing. Try the other random. Okay, well let's get some units here. Corey's Gamorrean Galleon. And we're gonna get better than Lornar. I'm gonna put the
Construction complete. Course approved.
I'm gonna put the KDY strikes with our tenders. We will be getting to the Gammas. There are 1 or 2 Gamma patron units as well. So, Escroll Rem. Okay, I think we're gonna give up the Talons for some taxes. Taxes over Talons, maybe. What's the base income here? 150? Yeah, I think that's worth giving up the Talons. We got a Talon. We had fun with the Talon. It's run its course.
Beginning construction.
Mustafar would give us a couple, I think 150 extra credits, depending on if we take... We build a trade port on all of them. On Sluis Van, how's our income here? Base income of 250. Want taxes on you. Sinraf 6. Do we have taxes on you? Yeah, because your influence is 5.
Increase the flank.
Where else do we want to put stuff? Your base income. 200. You have enough influence as it is. Right, because the tax agency, or because the trade ports currently give the 2 influence, that's actually going to be removed and switched to being 1 on agriports and parts centers.
Constructing.
We do need 2 of each of those as well. Because right now it's basically you get the thing that gives you more money and it gives you more things that can make more money, which is not ideal. Oh, sorry. Storm 4, not Talon 1. Who gives a fuck? Fuck Star Wars. This is all nonsense.
Construction complete.
Unrest and some Rapsix. And Bob said if I showed off the other influence setup, it wouldn't impact things. It wouldn't get tested at all. We're episode 2, and already we'd be getting mileage out of it. No. This is all nonsense, which is why I'm streaming. Okay. I will be the first one to say my job makes no goddamn sense. I love my job. I am very happy to have my job. I used to walk to my old job in winter mornings wishing that I had my current job. And if I could go back in time and be like, hey, guess what? You got that job later on. I would have, past me would have been very happy to hear that. But what I'm doing here, it makes no sense. I don't understand how it's worked out, but I'm glad it has.
Unit in production.
Yeah, going somewhere, he said sardonically. The way I got the Del Rey editor mad at me.
Construction complete.
Hey, Carter. Okay, Bakura, easy. Endor, harder. Maybe we should just bypass Endor into Bakura. Let's do that. I think that's a good idea. The end of week calculations are actually a lot faster now too. I removed a ton of calculations without losing any other fun stuff. So I hope everyone appreciates that. Just saying. Yeah, the asserter is 49k. Thank you for subscribing, Carter. Very appreciated. 5 months. To me, it feels like it's been 20 years since you've subscribed. Oh god, that makes me feel very old. No, it hasn't been that long.
Choose your reinforcements.
Only nearly.
Copy.
Okay, Akbar,
Let's go.
I'm getting you killed.
Heading to destination.
Understood.
Right away. We're moving out.
I really need to redo some of these older
We're on our way.
low orbit textures.
Carrick en route.
Some of the ones that were made before the planet switch. Most of the ones that were made by me and not Dr. Nick. Alright, let's try to keep these fighters off of us.
Reporting. Charge laser gas commander.
Lancer on those bombers. You heavy bombers on them.
Awaiting your command. Attacking target.
We're ending up with a few more bombers than I'd like for what we're doing. But I'm going to take advantage of them for now.
Frigate here.
Slowly making its way in before the raid fleet comes in.
Yes, Commander.
Alright. They have a fighter hero, but we do as well.
Frequency open.
We get a 0.0001, or yeah, that was the right number of zeros, percent chance of a raid fleet having an SSD. Probably not, because there's definitely someone out there, and I feel like it's probably Tritone, who would roll it 2 times in a row, and then they'd be like, this is bullshit, the raid fleets are guaranteed. Uninstalling the mod. Because that's how random numbers work. Actually, I think Tridon would probably enjoy that, but other people would get that and uninstall the mod.
Understood.
Do we have any other economic heroes I can drop on? I hope we get an economic hero as our next legitimacy group. If we get the same second group as we did in Maldrude, which we unlocked at the end of the episode today, so no spoilers, then I'm going to be very, very concerned about whether I need to change the system or not.
Attacking.
Okay, bombers, you're already over here. Go and clear that out.
I copy. Moving to coordinates.
Falling out of formation.
Reporting in. Attacking.
No raid fleet yet.
On the Indians.
I thought that little chonk was stuff coming in, but it wasn't. Now, Grunger's busy in legitimacy, so a Grunger can't be a raid fleet. Unless he only does it when he's in the system. But then if he dies, people are going to be deprived of a Grunger. Starhammer is getting some damage done to it.
What are your orders?
Star Destroyer reporting.
Carrot Commander here. Get behind them. Interceptor squad reporting.
There is a life limit on this campaign. Oh, there we go. Holy shit. Okay.
Lots of frigate reporting.
Our lasers are destroyed. Copy.
Reporting. Ready to receive orders. What are your orders? Yes, Commander. Go after them. The torpedo bays are
It's been 2 pretty big raid fleets today.
Carrot Commander here. Active.
Okay, we need to focus on that.
Attack formation. Copy. Commence attack.
You're B-Wing. Delvardis, can you turn around?
Reporting. Roger that. Locking on.
Awaiting your command.
Please get some shields back.
Form up. Bombs deployed. Ready.
Alright, let's get our bombers back on this side. Raiders, come in. I know I said you weren't the most anti-fighter oriented bombers, but you're all we got. We can body block that hard point. Nope. We tried.
Frigate here. Enemies in range.
Standing by. Awaiting your command.
Watch him. He's coming around. Intercepting. Attack.
Well, we may as well finish this off then.
Frequency open. Coming around. Orders, sir. Target locked.
I mean, I did say maybe.
Where to go?
That was the operative keyword there.
Attacking. Lots of frigate reporting. Attack that target.
Alright.
Ready for commands.
Anti-fighter kill wedge.
Bomber squadron reporting. Commander. Eliminating target around much longer. Copy.
Cruiser here.
You're gonna do it much faster than our own fighters will.
Orders. I have the target in sight. Returning to your position.
Okay, let's just target everyone on wedge.
Carrot Commander here.
Are we gonna do it? Are we gonna do it?
Take care of this.
I will. So there will be rebuilding of dead patron ships. It's just everything has a life limit of 3, so it's not going to be repeatedly rebuilding the same thing. I figure if everyone has 3 lives, then they'll get a good amount of use without choking out some of the ones that are farther down the list. That's my thinking for it. Alright, so we are gonna bypass Endor.
Order acknowledged.
Hey Darkstar, have I missed anything notable from the last 6 months? Yes. Quite a lot, actually. I do recommend checking out some of the news overviews and videos from the last 6 months if you haven't seen them. As A lot has changed. Been a very busy 6 months.
Heading out.
Okay, Wedge. You asked for it. Melvar was, because he's dead now, one of Zinja's second in command. He'll be remembered forever. Not by me, I'll forget in a few minutes. But I'm sure someone out there will remember him.
Location confirmed.
Our fighter here is still buggy. As you can see here, yes, they are still a little bit buggy. But they are a lot less buggy now. Trident did a pass on them and cleaned up a lot of outstanding issues. They're definitely a thing that's going to take some more focus in like a dedicated pass, but they're in a better state now. Did we actually? No. We need the interdictor with him for the future battles. Rip. Okay, let's put some ships over there.
Moving to sector.
And I'll save before doing the invasion of Bakura here. Oh, they took Amrak. So that's nice for the New Republic, I suppose. That's probably where Nance is. They sent another fleet up to attack the Emperor of the Hand. But once we've taken Bakura and Endor, we will be able to push on the actual Empire. Once we take Coruscant and Kuat, that's a big legitimacy boost to us. We'll be taking down our main enemy, and we'll be just getting a lot of influence on it, or legitimacy on its own there. So we'll be setting ourselves up as the faction that gets to trigger the Dark Empire storyline. Just kidding, or am I for next version? Who knows? Like, the nice thing with Lumaya in the other playthrough was we didn't have really any other ground heroes, but here we have so many ground heroes that we don't need her as much, but she is our only force user. Alright, let's see if we can get over to that other landing zone, and let's get some Lancet support and artillery support. With someone else. I've been really liking the ATMPs. The ATMPs are our friends, not food. You park up towards this split. You go with them.
Yes, Commander. Moving. Yes, Commander.
Then you can go to the edge of this.
Roger that.
This is definitely a map where I think we can give the water passability to the water.
Fallout troops.
Make it play very differently for when you bring hover vehicles versus not.
Let's roll. On my way. I copy.
We've secured a landing zone.
Reporting.
Alright, I think we can actually get all the way up to there.
They're in this direction.
Yeah, you can deploy now.
Awaiting orders.
What else is going into the legitimacy unlocks? So most of the unlocks are just the hero groups. Some of the hero groups come with unlocking units. The Storm Commandos are the main one there. But if you integrate the other major factions, so if you integrate the Greater Maldrude, you can get you can unlock the
As you wish.
sorry, you can unlock the Crimson Command VSDs, which is handy for some factions that don't have the same access to heavy frigates. If you integrate the Empire itself, then you get Stormtroopers. which are a better infantry unit than some of the other warlords have.
Coordinates.
Yeah, from what I remember with the ATMP discussion, no one can actually fit in the area that it was depicted as being the cockpit. So there's a lot of units where we end up scaling it a bit differently, but just so stuff will actually fit in it. As having pilots that aren't just Ugnaughts, which is not a possibility we considered, to be fair. We didn't think about the possibility that they were just Ugnaughts. That's a change we make sometimes. Like the ATTE is another unit that like is very prominent in a lot of canon, both canons, that the scaling is very messy for. Because like at a certain point you either go by stated scale, you go by scale in the other games, you assume that Ugnaughts are piloting everything, or you go off of like the visual cues on the unit for what makes sense scale-wise. And often we'll go for the last option there, unless we have modeled our version of it to the scale of whatever, or we've like modeled the details of our version of it to whatever scale it's like supposed to be. With space units, we'll usually do that. With ground units, it's more, okay, this thing clearly has this detail at this size. How big does that mean it is? Rather than, okay, this thing says it's 2 meters tall, but you can see a house party happening on top. It's probably not 2 meters. Nope, that was not parked far enough out.
Yes, sir. Weapons are ready.
Alright. Umaya, do you want to come and deal with some
Awaiting orders.
fighters? By fighters, I don't mean like pew pew fighters. I mean like pew pew fighters, like the people who are fighting. Any plans on adding Bad Batch to Fall of the Republic? No. Definitely not as like a high priority main mod thing. Bad Batch being canon only rather than Legends, since it's a Legends mod. But like that'd be another thing where if we were looking to do it, it would be easy to just throw in certain situations or in the sub mod. But the difficulty is just there are 4 or 5 unique infantry models to make with that when that's the hardest thing to make. Those are the most limited resources, infantry. So that's the big stopping point there. It's the most limited skill set, it's the most difficult thing to do. So we tend to not have too many just extra infantry thrown in anywhere.
Ready.
Alright.
At maximum firepower.
That's Bakura. That's Lumaya running towards Bakura. Run and run. Okay, so I think that's gonna do it for our first episode, or our second episode, our first stream of the Eriadu playthrough. Next time we are gonna take Endor and turn our attention to the Imperial North, probably going all the way up through Kalis so we can reunite with camp. Everyone enjoys going to camp. We do have some units at camp. But hope you are enjoying this look at the Eriadu Authority. Playing off of Cruel for once is nice. Maybe our next long progressive campaign we'll put back on Cruel, but I wanted to get through as many of these factions as possible in some of the new maps. This has also been a lot more stable than the early Pen of Star Alignment playthrough was, too. So thanks again for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoy your weekend. We'll be back on Monday recording episodes 3 through probably 5 here on Twitch at 2 p.m. Eastern. Other than that, bye, everyone.